10 of the NFL season is upon us. We've previewed Thursday. That's been and gone. Go check out our YouTube channel for our Thursday preview and how we did on the Bengals versus Ravens game. We have tried this intro about 3 times, but I've said week 11 on pretty much every single one. Severely jet-lagged, Tom Collins, but myself, Lee Calder, I'm here. I'm dragging myself through it.
You're a costume of a man. That's what you are right now. You need bed and bed quickly. Yes, it is week 10. Week 10 can confirm that. Also, you mentioned the Thursday night football podcast. Hopefully we've had winners there. That'll be done and gone by the time you're watching this. There should also be a racing podcast maybe there. So go and check that out right now as well. Whack a like, comment, subscribe. All of that rubbish. Let's get it all out of the way early doors and let's get into week 10 very soon.
Bold of you to point. First things first, swagged out.
Yeah, I like it.
New hoodie. I wasn't going to go hat this week, honestly, but that's. I mean,
mate, we're all grateful that you have gone hat. We'll just say that.
No, none more so than me. But yeah, it's been a long day. And new cup. So there you go. That's all the new swag. But that's me showing off what I got from holiday. Let's talk about week 10. We'll talk about week 9 in a moment with our What on Earths. But first, our sponsors, who we love. And they're our sponsors, week 9, week 10, week 11, and until they get rid of us, effectively. But SBK are offering a 25% ACCA boost to use on this weekend's NFL matches. If you fancy my selections, or if you prefer TC's, or if you want to mix and match to get the 25% ACCA boost that make SBK the best place to punt on the NFL, head over to SBK for that and discover all of their offers. Max stakes and T's and C's apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Yeah, I've been betting with SBK for a long time. No slot machines, roulettes, no casino, none of that rubbish. Perfect for US stuff, whether it be horse racing, as I say, that podcast, or whether it's NFL for this podcast and our selections. You can customize bet builders, accumulators, bet singles on our plays of the day if you prefer. It's fantastic. SBK have all the markets and the best prices. Go check them out. New customers get £40 in free bets when you bet your first £10. T's and C's apply. Max stakes, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly. But do go and check out SBK. Thank you very much again for sponsoring the podcast. And there's a link down below in the description if you do want a new SBK account. Just click on that link. It will take you through to the sign-up page, and then you can play our NFL tips.
And they're great guys as well. Love them. Except for Adam Bayliss. I don't know.
Let's hope he watches.
It's the hair. Well, this is the test of if he watches. He'll be like, "Oh, I got to mention." But
mate, you cannot say it's the hair when we've just said that you're wearing a hat because of the hair scenario here.
He tries.
He does. To be fair, it's quite slick. I mean,
I take the mic, but it does look good. To be fair, and I'm in no. But what on earth for week 9 of the NFL season? Tom, I want your what on earth first, please. So please commence.
Okay, I could do this, and I say this every single Sunday podcast. I could do this with a little rant about how a bet or a tip lost, because we do have quite a lot of bad beats, especially on a bet I had last week. But I'm not going to do it just yet, anyway. I'm going to say, and this is a very positive what on earth. What on earth, Saquon Barkley. Now, if you haven't seen what I'm about to describe, whack up Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, in a separate tab. Don't get rid of this podcast. Go on a separate tab, type in Saquon Barkley, click on media, and it'll be the top video you see. Just go and watch it. Enjoy it. It's 10 to 15 seconds of pure brilliance. This guy, look, I'm not the biggest Saquon Barkley fan, I have to admit. Going into this year, I thought he was a little bit overrated. Very good in college, but for the New York Giants, he was hit and miss with a lot of injuries. You know, I thought maybe his reputation was above his actual talent level at that point in time in the NFL. Scrap that. I was wrong. This play against the Jacksonville Jaguars that we saw last Sunday was potentially the best play I've ever seen from a running back. He caught the ball around the 45-yard line. Little dump-off pass to the left-hand side. He was supposed to run a fake wheel, basically. In front of him, he had a corner. He jukes him. Okay, Saquon can juke players. It was good. Then he gets to the linebacker, and Devin Lloyd is kind of looking at him. He squared him up perfectly fine. Saquon, spin move, gets around him. Now you're thinking, God, this is a decent play, this. And then comes the cornerback. Jarrian Jones is in front of him. Saquon is facing the wrong direction. The spin move he wasn't able to fully complete, so he's actually back to where he's going. He reverse hurdles a cornerback. What on earth, Saquon Barkley? I've never seen this in my life. He jumps over a person backwards. Crazy.
As a defender, how do you get through that? Because you've got Saquon Barkley. I'm going to smash this guy. This guy he's going to be out on the next play. He's not coming back. Where you go?
It is remarkable. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. The first two parts of what I described there, you do see in good plays week on week. Wide receivers or running backs, spin move, jukes, and everyone watches them and goes, "God, that was decent. He's got the agility that I would never have." But the reverse hurdle, that's a first.
Yeah, we're both guys. We both
Oh,
have moderate IQs, I would imagine, when it comes to real world stuff.
excuse me.
You did sports journalism at university. Come on now.
Oh,
Um,
don't you start.
that's not a real degree. But have you tried it in the living room?
Um, no, but I want to now. I'd
It's
say my
hard.
ceiling's relatively low, so I'm not. I mean, I'm not the tallest guy. I'm 6 foot, girls. But I would hazard a guess that I may get close to the ceiling if I try. But I'm going to.
It's hard. It's very hard. Oh yeah, many times it's very hard. What on earth? Derek Carr. Tom Brady did this chat a little while ago about quarterback play, and they need to look after their wide receivers. I feel like Derek Carr was a bit of the aim regarding that, because he also threw a bit of shade at Derek Carr and other places. Michael Thomas, his ex-teammate, who apparently doesn't like him very much, called him out as well. But my word, throw to your wide receivers, especially a guy who's had 4 concussions in the last few years in Chris Olave. Throw to him far better. You're throwing to him as he's running a slant, coming across the middle of the field, 2 defenders, 1 chasing him, 1 in front of him that he can't see because he's looking at the ball. He throws him high, which is a terrible start, too high so he can't catch it, and then he just gets wiped out by the defender. That's him done. He's out for the game. I don't think he's out for the season, but he's more than likely out for this week. Well, he's definitely out for this week. He'll probably be out for the week after as well. That's his second concussion now in 3-4 weeks. It's just such a dumb play from Derek Carr. I'd like to think he knows it. He got called out and he got a lot of heat for it as well. And also, for the main part of it as well, it crushed my bets from the very get-go in regards to that. I was a happy chap walking around Universal in Florida, and then I get the text from Tom Collins, Olave's out, concussion again.
Yeah, it was a big shame, and it was on the first drive as well. Olave, a guy who everyone thought was going to be the breakout wide receiver this year, but concussion seems to be holding him back. I wouldn't be surprised if he was out for the whole rest of the year. I have to admit, the Saints are going nowhere. Olave, 2 concussions in 3 or 4 weeks, as you say, it's very much a Tua Tagovailoa kind of situation. Whether he recovers quickly or not, I don't know whether they'll put him straight back on the field. But yeah, what on earth, Derek Carr? I agree with that. What on earth? But also, I also bet the Saints in one of my muggy combination bets on Sunday, and they cost me against the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers, man. Come on, Derek Carr. You've got to be beating those, even without Olave, who you have just ruined in the middle of the field. I agree. What on earth?
Yeah. Let's move on. Not fully yet, because 9-1.
Oh, yeah. Take your victory sip. Very well done. I'll tell you what, mate. And this is no slight on you. You're very good at the plays of the day because you're, honestly, over the last few weeks, you haven't been striking more than 50% or so, but you're picking the right one for play of the day, and that's not something I'm doing. So well done.
Yeah, and annoyingly, the thing that really irritates me is that I should be 10-0, but I taught myself out of Malik Neighbours in week 2, I think it was. I went for something else, but whatever. We live and learn. We're 9-1. It was blue drink last week. It's just water in this one now. So we're going a bit more mainstream. But let's get into week 10 with our first selections. First selection is going to come from myself, and this is a player who I thought was going to be my player of the day. However, he's not quite going to be player of the day. I'm going to look elsewhere for that. But Jonathan Taylor has had a very productive year so far. Obviously, he did miss a couple of games a little earlier on. His rushing line is 80.5, 10 to 11, the price for that. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to run all over the Buffalo Bills. Now, we attacked Buffalo last week with Devon Achane. Achan had a very good week. He landed us our bet, and he landed us the player of the day as well in that. Last week, Buffalo allowed 137 yards to running backs. That's a mix of Achan, Raheem Mostert, and also Jalen Wright from the Miami Dolphins. Their run defense is shocking, Buffalo. It does look a little better because Buffalo are generally in front, and also they did have a couple of blowouts as well in more recent times against Tennessee and also against Seattle, which did sort of boost their stats there yet a touch. But you look at Jonathan Taylor. I know he's got a bit of stick this year, regardless of who he's played with, Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson. He's been generally very good, though. He's gone over this line of 80.5, 4 of the 6 games this season, including 3 separate 100-plus yard games. That's only on the ground, even getting rid of the passing game. Last week, yes, he did struggle against Minnesota, but we said it on this podcast a lot. Minnesota are a brilliant run defense. They are very, very good in that sphere. Yes, I know they've had 1 or 2 that have had a bit more success against them, the likes of Jahmyr Gibbs in recent times, but they are a good run defense. And also, the game was horrid last week from start to finish. I think there was 7-0 at halftime, and it was a defensive score. It was just a game where Indianapolis never got going whatsoever. He's had less than 16 carries twice this season, and he's had 20 or more carries 3 times. I like that workload. If he gets that sort of workload here against Buffalo, which I don't see any reason why he wouldn't, then he's going to be going over 80.5. He might find the end zone as well. He is a short price for that. He is the offense in Indianapolis at the moment. Joe Flacco came in. Look, he wasn't brilliant last week. He managed to see things through a touch, but this is a kind of matchup for both Flacco and mainly Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor will go over his line. So my first selection of the week, Tom, Jonathan Taylor over 80.5.
I like it. I do like it. Hopefully the Colts can bounce back, because last week they were very disappointing. Against the Vikings, when I put up the over, I was very much wrong in that selection. So apologies for everyone listening. The other 3 selections I should have been successful in. 2 I was, and the other one, Shakir, got 50 yards when he needed 51. But anyway, hopefully you get off to a winning start with Jonathan Taylor. I'll move on to my next 2 because they've come in the same game. It's the Atlanta Falcons versus the New Orleans Saints. We've already touched on the Saints briefly, but I'll go into more depth in a second. My first selection is going to be Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown at 4-6. This is the shortest price I think I've put up all year, but I love it. I think Robinson will get in here. Look, Robinson has 3 touchdowns in 3 previous games against the Saints in his career. That's a positive for a start. The only game he didn't actually grab a touchdown came earlier this season, where he was barely used. I think he had 7 carries and 4 catches. I don't know why he was used in such small quantities. I can't remember if he was injured or not, but they used a lot of Tyler Algier instead. Now, Bijan's workload has increased drastically over the last 3 weeks, especially in the passing game. I mean, last week he had 7 catches. The week before he had 7 as well, I believe. This is a guy who's just been looked at as first read quite often. And when he's not, and it's a run play, he gets the ball anyway. He's definitely RB1 now over Algier. He's basically Alvin Kamara, but a better version for the Falcons. I expect
Younger.
And younger.
Just younger. Alvin Kamara was ridiculous at this age. Younger.
Oh, sure. I mean, Kamara now. Sorry. Kamara
okay, fair
now.
enough. Okay, I'll allow it. Carry on.
Thank you. I expect Atlanta to win this game due to New Orleans just being poor. They lost to the Panthers last week. Why would they beat Atlanta this week? They're without Olave as well as Rashid Shaheed and plenty of other players on offense. So I think Atlanta win. I think they put up plenty of points, and if they're going to do that, Bijan will find the end zone, whether it be a passing down or a running down. I think he'll find pay dirt. So Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown at 4-6 is play number 1. Now, a bigger price in the same game, and I'm playing all of my selections as singles, as I always do. And if you are waiting for a roundup right at the end of the show, we'll provide a roundup of all of our picks. In the same game, Taysom Hill, anytime touchdown. This is 2-1. I think it's a very fair price. Taysom is a difficult person to assess because he was a quarterback, then a tight end, but most of his best plays come when running the ball. If you go back through his career, Taysom Hill's got a great record running the ball against the Atlanta Falcons. Since their November 2019 meeting, the Saints and the Falcons, they play each other twice a year, Hill has 6 rushing touchdowns. He's averaging 6 yards a carry as well, which is like unique against any team in the league. This is by far his best statistic. 2 of those touchdowns came against the Falcons earlier this season in the 26-24 loss that I've already talked about with Bijan. He got injured in that game. He's only played twice since. First game back 2 weeks ago, he had a few carries. He wasn't used with his maximum workload. They were just getting him back. Last week, he got a touchdown and he looked pretty good when he got given the ball. He's basically their red zone running back, despite the fact they've got Kamara and he's actually listed as a quarterback and tight end. But I'm going to take a chance that Taysom Hill gets close to the end zone and therefore can get in to the end zone and score a touchdown. He's 2-1. I think if the Saints score this week, it'll be either Kamara or Hill, and Hill's a much bigger price. So 2 bets in this Saints-Falcons game. Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown, 4-6. Taysom Hill, anytime touchdown, 2-1.
Yeah, I needed a tight end to stream last week in fantasy football because George Kittle was on the bye. So I picked up Taysom Hill, was delighted. And now suddenly, potentially, you've got a player for the entirety of the season. If Chris Olave is out, then Taysom Hill's going to be used a ton. I did like Taysom Hill. I was close to going that way myself at 2-1, but I was just worrying about whether New Orleans will actually be good enough to really put up much of a fight. But at 2-1, that's a very fair price. I'm going to go to a guy who, at the start of the year, no one wanted to know whatsoever, in DeAndre Swift, who recently has been very, very good. His workload has gone up, his production has gone up as well. But we're not going to attack him just once. We're going to attack him twice in this spot. So DeAndre Swift, over 71.5 rushing yards. My first thought was that's a bit high, honestly, and I was going to leave it. You look into things a little bit more, which we will do in a second. I think that's a very, very workable line. And DeAndre Swift, anytime touchdown as well. That is even money at the moment. I quite like that from DeAndre Swift. As I say, he's been far, far more prolific in the latter part of the the more recent part of the season. That's probably a better way of putting it. The first few weeks, he had 30 rushing yards, 18 rushing yards, and 20. Since then, he's not dipped below 51, and 51 was last week. The 4 weeks prior to that were all very good regards to DeAndre Swift. But New England as well are a terrible run defense. Again, we've mentioned it so many times on this podcast. 10 separate running backs have gone over 50 yards against New England on the ground in the last 7 weeks. 10 running backs in the last 7 weeks have gone over 50 yards. Terrible stat for New England. Swift, as I say, started this season slowly, but he's achieved 73 yards or more in 4 of the last 5 games. And as I say, that slow week was last week when he managed 51 yards. That was against Arizona, when, to be honest, Chicago just didn't work. I don't know what it was. Nothing about them seemed to really matter whatsoever. But DeAndre Swift has also got 4 touchdowns in 5 games. Again, last week was his week off, but before that, he looked very, very good. And the Bears, I don't think enough is being made of this because the Bears have only actually played 3 games at home so far this season. I think one of their other home games was one of the London games, which obviously doesn't really count per se. But at Soldier Field, they've got a very good record. Points-wise, which is what we're probably more interested in, they put up 24 points, 24 points, and 36 points in their home games. That is absolutely fine. If they score anywhere near those amounts of points, DeAndre Swift is getting at least 1 touchdown in those. That's their 3 home games this season. I imagine they'll be putting up similar sort of points against the Patriots this week. So DeAndre Swift over 71.5 rushing yards at 10-11, and DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown at even money. I'll keep those as singles for our profit loss, but play it however you will. I will probably be playing it in a multiple, the both of them come this Sunday. But DeAndre Swift, not a guy I like, Tom, but for this Sunday, love him.
Yeah, it's interesting because Khalil Herbert, the backup, has gone to the Bengals on a trade deadline trade. Caleb Williams is listed as questionable in a couple of practices, so I think they're going to be leaning on Swift a lot. So I can't say a bad word about that. I know we do seem to agree with each other quite a lot on these podcasts, but I genuinely do like DeAndre Swift in that spot. So best of luck with you there. I've also got him in a fantasy league, so it would be nice if he had a good week. I'll move on to my third pick, and it's going to be not exactly, but very similar to a bet we had last week. And it's going to be Khalil Shakir, over 53.5 receiving yards at 10-11. Last week, it was over 50.5. Now, I've already said we missed out by a yard last week. It was no fault of anyone. It was just coincidental and unlucky.
Shakir, sorry, can we get this? Can we get this again? But can you react how you were reacting when it was happening?
No.
I've got receipts for this, so.
The thing is, it's a terrible beat. It's a terrible beat, losing by 1 yard. But there is no reason for it. I can't say we were super unlucky. It felt like it was an awful beat. But it is what it is. He had his workload that I thought he would. He had his target share. With the ball, he did very well yards after catch. It's not like we got unfortunate with an injury or anything like that. So it was just what it was. But this week we're going to get the money back. Back to the well. He needs 54 plus yards. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel about what he's done so far this year. I did it last week. Shakir is one of the best wide receivers in the league at actually catching his targets. He's going to get 6, 7, 8 balls in this game. I like Shakir very much for the Buffalo Bills, and hopefully he can hit his over at 10 to 11.
You're a person who learns from things.
Correct.
This next one is one that I'm really looking forward to talking about, because I don't really get why bookmakers haven't cottoned on to this guy sooner, because the rest of the world knows about George Kittle. George Kittle is a very, very good tight end, and he has been phenomenal this year. He has been absolutely superb. I think in fantasy football, he's the tight end one, which isn't a massive thing to brag about, because most tight ends started off the season very slowly. But George Kittle, literally from the get-go, has been brilliant. The 49ers obviously have got Brandon Ayuk out for the rest of the season. There are plenty of chances in the receiving game. There is a possibility Christian McCaffrey is going to be back this week. I doubt it. I don't think he will. I think they'll wait for a little bit later in the season. They say just off the back of their week 9 bye. But Kyle Shanahan, he said he's not committing to anything regards to Christian McCaffrey, regards to week 10, which, I mean, Kyle Shanahan, he's a big fat liar, and he likes to say things that are very much not true. I think that means that Christian McCaffrey's not going to play. Even if he does, I don't think it affects things too much. It opens things up for George Kittle. But George Kittle's line is 55.5 receiving yards. Now, bookmakers need to stop giving him this sort of line, because he's crushing it every single week. Treat him like a wide receiver. Give him like a 70-yard line. That will be far fairer on George Kittle, and it'll make things far more interesting. But 55.5 is his line at 10 to 11. And also a George Kittle anytime touchdown is 7 to 5. I'm playing both of those. Tampa, they struggle against tight ends. This is the fun part, because these are tight ends who have had a good week against Tampa. And I'm going to insert a noise, Tom. And a noise will imply that they were the leading receiver on their team that week, okay?
Looking forward to this. Go
on. Travis Kelce got 100 yards. Swing. Kyle Pitts, 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. Swing. And he also got 88 yards earlier on in the season. Mark Andrews, 41 yards and 2 touchdowns. Foster Moreau, 52 yards. Swing. Juwan Johnson, 48 yards. And Dallas Goedert, 7 catches for 62 yards. Swing. That's a lot of tight ends to be allowing to be the lead receiver on the team, and on good offenses as well. This is just a team that really struggle against tight ends. Honestly, they struggle against plenty of things in the receiving games, but tight ends massively. George Kittle has gone over this line the last 4 weeks now, and he's also gone over it 5 of the 7 games that he's played so far this season. Kittle also, more interestingly, leads the league in targets inside the 10-yard line. That's of any position. He's had 8 targets inside the 10. He's caught 7 of them as well, and 5 touchdowns from those 7 catches. Inside the red zone as well, 11 targets, 10 catches. That's very good. I want a guy like that on my side. We've used George Kittle, I think 2, 3, 4 times so far this season. Every single time he's come up trumps for us. I think George Kittle has another massive week. That line of 55.5 is very low. I think he'll find the end zone. Color me in for both of those. And there's going to be a play of the day in there. But which one? We'll find out.
I never want to hear the word swing again. But a good statistic there about Kittle. Hopefully he has a good game. We'll move on to the last selection between us and the main slate. We've got 1 pick each in the primetime game, which we'll come to after this. But my last selection, my 4th selection in the main slate of games is Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown at 6 to 5. We had this exact bet last week. It copped. He won. And I'm just rinsing and repeating, going back to the well. As soon as they start putting Hurts in at odds on, then I'll look elsewhere. Why is he odds against? Jalen Hurts, we know about the tush push. Everyone that watches NFL knows about the tush push, the brotherly push, whatever one you want to call it.
Brotherly shove.
Whatever that as well. We all know about Jalen Hurts. It's not like the traders have missed or should be missing this. Why is he odds against? This season, 6 rushing touchdowns in his last 3 games. 8 rushing touchdowns over all 8 games so far for the Eagles. As I say, I'm going to continue hammering Jalen Hurts for the rest of the year if they continue putting him in at odds against to get a touchdown. The Eagles should win this game against the Cowboys. Cowboys are without Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush is going to start. CeeDee Lamb has a shoulder injury. He's not going to be used much. For what it's worth, I do think Jake Ferguson will go over for the Cowboys here, but there was no line at the time of recording the podcast. He's the only guy that I think the Cowboys are actually going to be able to utilize fully against the Eagles. The Eagles will win. I think the Eagles are going to put up 28 plus points on the Cowboys. Their defense has been shocking. And if Dallas cannot move the chains on offense, then the Eagles are going to continue to get the ball back. One of those touchdowns is surely going to go the way of Hurts. If they're within the 5-yard line, Hurts is getting the ball. If they're within the 2-yard line, it's 100% likely that Hurts is going to get the ball to carry in the end zone. And only about 3 times this season has the brotherly shove not worked and got either a first down or a touchdown. So, I mean, why change something that isn't broken? Give me Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown at 6-5.
I mean, he got the touchdown last week. It wasn't with the tush push, the brotherly shove. He ran it from, I don't know, 15 yards. It was something like that. It was a genuine actual run. But yeah, I'm with you. It could also be a positive for him as well. It sounds weird to say, but that Devonta Smith might be out. He did not practice on, was it Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday. He was did not practice. So we'll see what he is on Thursday. And also AJ Brown is limited. So we'll see regards to that, but it could well be a positive in that regard. That's it for this week regards to selections. It's not. We've got a treat here, Tom.
We do.
We've got a joint play. We've got a joint play.
How many joint plays have we had this year? Is it just 2?
No, 3. The stupid Vikings.
Yeah. We were 2 from 2 and then the Vikings ruined us in that Thursday night football game. Yeah.
We can make it better, though. We're 2 from 2 on Sunday.
We are. It's going to be 3 from 3. Go on. Tell us why.
Because Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to find the end zone. Amon-Ra St. Brown, anytime touchdown. 13-10, which is a huge price. I thought he'd be odds on regards to this. Amon-Ra St. Brown, in case he didn't know, he likes scoring touchdowns. He's very good at it. He's scored in the last 6 games now as well. And also, we talk about George Kittle being very good inside the red zone, inside the 10. Amon-Ra St. Brown is very, very good as well. He'd be one of the bigger inside the 10/red zone guys in the league. 7 catches on 7 targets inside the 10 for 5 touchdowns for Amon-Ra. 10 catches on 11 targets in the red zone as well. And the Texans, their defense isn't very good. It wasn't brilliant last year. They allow points, but the Texans have allowed 5 wide receivers to go over 90 yards in the last 4 weeks. You can pass on the Texans, and the Texans have also allowed 12 touchdowns to wide receivers in the last 7 games. This game just has Amon-Ra St. Brown written all over it. If you have got Amon-Ra St. Brown, congratulations, you're going to go pretty well. Unfortunately, I'm playing against him in fantasy football this week. So I'm hoping, Tom, he's just going to get the touchdown and sit down for the rest of the game, and that'll be him done. But joint play, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Anything that you wish to add on that?
No, I love it. I love it. It's, as you say, joint play is one of my selections and one of Luke's selections together. We didn't collaborate before actually doing the podcast, so they are individual picks, but we've just come down on the same selection. Only the 4th time this year. You've given the reason. He's a machine. He'll catch 7 to 10 balls. Even if he doesn't get that workload, and we have seen that a couple times this year. For example, when he played Tennessee, he had just 2 catches. They still find him in the end zone. The Lions are very much an offense where they tried to keep their main guys happy. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They will find them and try get them touchdowns when possible. One of the most high-powered offenses, if not the most high-powered offense in the league. I think Amon-Ra finds pay dirt again for the 7th straight game. 13-10 is ludicrous. He should be odds on, or at least even money, to get a touchdown. So I'm fully with you.
Yeah, and it's also a game where Houston, hopefully they can keep up in regards to scoring. Nico Collins might be back this week.
Yeah, designated to return, but I don't know whether he's definitely going to play. But this just screams a shootout, even if Collins doesn't play. If he does, then definitely a shootout. The over-under is 49. I mean, I would take the over there, but I'll stick with Amon-Ra instead.
Yeah, just reading about Collins, he's not experienced any setbacks in his hamstring injury, but he didn't practice on Wednesday. So we'll see. He could return this week, but we'll see. It might be another week that we have to wait to see Nico Collins. But Amon-Ra St. Brown, anytime touchdown is the joint play of the week. Tom, if you could please list your selections and I don't know, put a bowl in it. I don't know, something like that.
This is the part where everyone just skips through the rest of the show and tunes in right here. So this is the time code that I'll be quoting to everyone when they go, what time is the roundup? Here we go. 5 picks. I've got 1% phone battery, so hopefully it doesn't die when I read these out. Firstly, Bijan Robinson for the Atlanta Falcons, anytime touchdown against the New Orleans Saints, 4-6. Same game, Taysom Hill for the New Orleans Saints, anytime touchdown, 2-1. Selection number 3, Khalil Shakir over 53.5 receiving yards for the Buffalo Bills against the Indianapolis Colts at 10-11. Selection 4, Jalen Hurts, anytime touchdown for the Philadelphia Eagles against the Dallas Cowboys. That's at 6-5. And finally, selection 5 and the joint play, Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions, anytime touchdown, 13-10. And that is my play of the day.
That's a big one. That's a single, a play of the day, and a joint play. Yep. Biggest selection ever on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast. But 13-10, I like it. I am going for Jonathan Taylor over 80.5 rushing yards. I am also going for DeAndre Swift over 71.5 rushing yards at 10-11. Jonathan Taylor's also 10-11. DeAndre Swift also to score a touchdown anytime. That is even money. I'm with Tom with the joint play with Amon-Ra St. Brown, anytime touchdown at 13-10. And George Kittle, anytime touchdown at 7-5. And the play of the day will be George Kittle over 55.5 receiving yards at 10-11. Hopefully Mr. Kittle can do us another good turn. But we're hoping for winners this week, Tom. I think by this point we'll probably be three from three on Thursday night, so it's fine. We're going in with confidence.
I hope so. I feel like we've had a couple of bad beats on Thursday Night Football, not the Vikings, but other games. So hopefully Thursday night went well, and hopefully this goes well. We are confident on a lot of picks this week. How many is it between us? 11, is it?
Yes.
Did you have 6? Yeah, 11 selections.
Kind of, but it's 10 because Amon-Ra.
Sure. Okay, 10 selections between us. Hopefully we can at least get 70%. I think 7 out of 10 would be fair. We're obviously going for 10 out of 10, but I'm playing minus singles. Luke does different. Sometimes singles, sometimes bet builders, sometimes accumulators. So play them as you will. But for profit loss status, we play them as 1-point singles. Also, mention SBK again. Go check out the description below. £40 in free bets for new customers when you bet your first £10. T&Cs apply. 18 plus. Gamble responsibly, but also gamble to win. And hopefully we can win this week in the NFL.
Yeah, competition. Right, that's us done on the Turf and Touchdowns podcast for week 10. We'll be back for week 11. I've got plenty of practice for that one, so we'll be nailing that one next week. But thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment down below with your favourite plays of the week. And also, if you've got any players or teams you want to ask us about, leave a comment down below. Last Monday, we managed to provide Jules with 3 winners from 3 selections. K. Dotton anytime touchdown at 5-2. K. Dotton over, and also Kareem Hunt anytime touchdown. All 3 of those landed. They were all in the YouTube comment section below. We'll get back to you if you have any thoughts or questions. Until we next get the chance to speak to you guys, stay safe, look after one another. Goodbye.